Okay, so to start off the style, you're going to need some bobby pins. You're also going to need some gel. Pretty much any kind of gel works, so I decided to use the Extreme Professional Gel. One of my other favorites is the Eco Styler gel in green. Then after that, you are going to need some curling cream. I decided to use the TGIN Twist and Define cream for this time. And then you're also going to need some oil, and this as well, you can use any types of oil. One of my favorites as well is the Fructis serum, anti-frizz serum. And then you're going to also need a blow dryer as well. Any kind of blow dryer works for this style. And then you're also going to need a fine tooth comb and a wide brush. The comb doesn't have to look like that, just any fine tooth comb pretty much works. And then you're going to need some clips or hair ties, something to kind of tie your hair away and back. Alright, so I started off with my hair gel back kind of in a bun. I just pretty much put gel on my edges, but I had blow dried my hair probably 2 days before this, and I was traveling, so I just didn't have time to do it. And I usually do this style when I'm going to a colder place or somewhere where it's not as humid. So I am up in the Midwest right now, so I'm just taking out the hair. It's all nice and blow dried out, ready to be styled. So the first thing that I'm going to do is part off my hair. I am parting off the back section right now. And one thing that I like to mention, don't worry about that, that's just a little bit of dried up gel. But one thing that I like to mention is on the perimeter of my hair, I kind of like to make the parts smaller than the rest of my hair. And this is just because on the perimeter there's a lot of friction going on when you're putting on and off clothing, or it just feels like it gets the most stress for me. So I like to make it smaller, because when you make it smaller in the Bantu knot, it makes the curl tighter and it will last longer for the style. So I'm just starting off with some curling cream first and rubbing that all the way through my hair. And then I'm going to go in with some gel as well and rub it in. And then I'm going to go in with the brush it all in, make sure it's getting every single strand is moisturized, and going with the fine tooth comb as well. So I'm starting off the Bantu knot. As you can see, I'm just twisting it and I'm going pretty slow, trying to make sure that everything is nice and smooth. It's really important. I'm going back through with the comb, making sure everything is nice and smooth, because this is how your curl is going to come out. If the curl isn't smooth or the hair isn't smooth, the curl won't come out right. So you want to make sure you make it nice and smooth. Now I'm starting the Bantu knot here. So as you can see, I'm twisting it around and just putting each newer twist to the base of my head where my roots are. And I'm continuously just twisting. I'm gonna do a few more of these close-ups so you get to see a better angle, but I'm putting in a little bit more gel, making sure the ends are nice and set, because with this style, your majority of your hair you're gonna see the ends. That's the curl part. So you want to make sure that that is very defined and curled correctly. So I'm going in with the bobby pin. Sometimes in the perimeter of my hair it's a little bit looser, so I'm just going in with the bobby pin to secure the Bantu knot. But I'll show you more of that a little bit later in the video. So I decided to move to a little bit better lighting so y'all can see better. So I'm going in with another Bantu knot. This one's on the side, and as you can see, it's still on the perimeter of my hair. So it is going to be a little bit smaller. Same thing, going in with the curling cream, rubbing it all the way through. I'm putting a little bit more cream. You don't want to use too much product, and going with gel. You don't want to use too much product because I am natural, obviously. So with those products have water in it, and so when you continuously put a lot of product in it, you may revert your hair back. So you don't want to do that. So here's a closer look of the Bantu knot. As you can see, I just start off by twisting, and I'm rubbing my hands through every single time, making sure it is nice and smooth. Now this is how you start it off, the Bantu knot. You just twist it around, and that's how you start it off. And I'm just gonna keep going. And you may be able to see as well, I'm pulling it out a little bit as well, because if you just continuously keep twisting, the Bantu knot is going to be way too tight and your scalp is going to be on fire. So you want to twist it the opposite direction and pull it so that you have room to put the other twist on the base of your hair and it's not too tight. But at the end, it should be, secure, not loose on your roots. So, yeah. So now I'm going into the back of my hair. So obviously this is not the perimeter. So the section is a little bit bigger than the ones that you've seen already.
Purchase your tracks today.
And for the parts, you don't necessarily have to make it super perfect. Like, unless you plan on wearing the style out, like with your hair still in Bantu knots, then yes, you may want to go in with a comb and make sure the parts are nice and straight. But at this point, I didn't plan on going out with the Bantu knot, so I didn't make it perfect, and I just really didn't care. You just want to make sure that you have the right amount of hair in each section. And you can put a little bit of gel on your edges like I'm doing. I already had some on there, so I didn't want to put too much, but put some gel on there and make sure your edges are laid and slayed, honey. We like some smooth edges. So as you can see, I'm pulling the twist in the opposite direction and putting the end of the twist to the base of my hair as I'm pulling it. And making sure those ends are smooth. So here's a little slow-mo. As you can see, I'm pulling and twisting and wrapping. So I'm pulling and twisting with my left hand and wrapping with my right, just so you have an idea. So we are almost done, and this is a really important part, the front of your hair, because this is the part that everybody's going to see. Everybody sees your face, they're going to see your hair, so you really want to make sure at this point you kind of know what you're doing and you're making sure that the curl is nice and tight, secured, and smooth. So I'm using the clip for this part because it's a little bit easier than using a hair tie. So I'm just clipping away that hair that I don't need, that I'm not working on right now. So I'm rubbing in the curling cream as well as the gel. I didn't have to use a brush for the front of my hair just because the front of my hair is a little bit looser than the rest of my hair. And a little gel on them edges. So we are all done, and now I'm going in with some bobby pins just to make sure that the ones that I feel like are a little bit loose are secured. I don't put it in every single Bantu knot just because the bobby pins can get really uncomfortable if you're trying to sleep or move around. So I'm just feeling around in each Bantu knot and seeing which ones the end may be sticking out a little bit or it's not as tight. So I'm just going in and securing it with the bobby pin, and it's pretty self-explanatory. You just put the bobby pin where the end of your hair is and just push it in to make sure it stays just like that. And you want it to dry tight. When you're sleeping, you don't want the curl to come out, because then you're going to wake up and the curl is going to be ruined and then you're going to be mad. So just make sure you secure those Bantu knots. So I have about 20 Bantu knots in my hair, all around. It's about 20 of them. So I'm just gonna give a little spin around so you see every single one. All right. So this is about 2 days later, and I actually did wear them out. So I had put some charms on them. Because I didn't have like a hooded dryer to sit under to make sure that it was super dry, I just decided to let it go to sleep that night, wear it out the next day, go to sleep that night again, and then take it out that next morning to make sure that it was completely dry before I took out the Bantu knots. So now I'm going in with the oil to separate my hair. And like I said, I usually do use my Fructis anti-frizz serum. However, I was visiting my family over the holidays and this was what my cousin had, so I had to work with it. But really any oil works. I just prefer that one. So as you can see, I untwisted the Bantu knot first, and I'm like carefully separating the Bantu knot. And you want to make sure your hands are moisturized and saturated with the oil. So as you're working through your hair, it's getting moisturized as you're doing that. So slowly separate it. Don't just pull it apart really rough. Do it slowly and gently. And I'm also twisting it as well clockwise with my fingers as I'm taking out the Bantu knot. And I twisted my Bantu knot clockwise, so that's the way the curl is formed. That's the way the curl dried and formed. So I kind of separated about 3 times. If you separate it more, yes, your hair will have more volume, and yes, it will be bigger, but it will also not last as long. So you want to just be careful with that. First day hair is never really that big, but as time goes on, it's going to get frizzier and it's going to get more volume. So you don't have to keep separating it, because then it just won't last as long. So I separate it in 1/2, and then each half I separate again. Alright, so we're done with that half. Now we're moving on to the other. And I just did that part off camera. So this is how it looks without it being picked out. Yes, it's a lot of shrinkage and I don't like this, so I'm gonna go get my blow dryer and fluff it out a little bit. So the way that I do this is I go in with the blow dryer and just go to the roots of my hair, and I'm just stretching it out. You don't want to really go to the ends of it and stretch out your ends. Like I said, that is the curl, so you don't want to stretch out your hair completely, but just really go in to the ends and just play with it until you're satisfied and it's where you want it to be. And I know some people do use the pick. I personally don't like to use picks because it's hard to explain, but like when I use a pick, the hair basically gets separated at the root of my hair. So instead of it being in a spirally form, it's picked out and spread out, and then as it gets older, it kind of gets matted up or just gets really it's a lot going on down in the root area. So I rather have it be a little bit spirally or still kind of in that twisted form at the root than it being fluffed out. It's a little bit more manageable for me. But I'm just going in, I'm kind of untwisting some twists. I like big hair, so I'm trying to make it big, but like I said, first day hair, it's hard to really get it as big as you know it can be. But just playing with it. Alright, so there we go. This is the Bantu Knot style. In the first clips you saw, that was day 2 or day 3 hair. So it was a lot more fluffed out and more volume. But this is first day hair. So I'm just going to give you a little bit more angles. And that is how I do my infamous Bantu Knot style. Peace, y'all.